Thanks for watching, folks. We're at the Grand Traverse County Civic Center. We're talking softball and baseball. 'Tis the season for travel, softball, and baseball. With us is Doug Shepard. TC Waves. Yep. You were the general manager of the TC Waves teams. Your story is very interesting. But first, let's just talk a little bit about athletics and the importance of what, softball players and baseball players are doing and how important this is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really important and what I think the focus is always on is the athlete. And the travel sports and sports in general obviously bring a lot of advantages to these kids.
Yeah.
And what I think is amazing, and every sport has its different advantages, but the neat thing about softball and baseball that I didn't appreciate until I got involved in this culture is really the camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's something different than anything I've ever experienced. These girls that play travel softball, these boys that play travel baseball, they're tough, they're gritty, they work hard, but the friendships that are being created on these fields, not only on the fields but also amongst the families when you involve in the travel is something that I never expected.
When you talk about the culture, and it is a culture, it's amazing to see at tournaments, for example, how everyone kind of sets up. They have mini camps. It's almost tribal in a way.
Absolutely. And what's I think I didn't appreciate or know, and now I'm starting to realize is that travel softball in Traverse City is unlike a lot of areas. I mean, we have multiple organizations. I mentioned the Waves, which I'm involved in. Some of my best friends coach at other organizations in town, 231 Fusion and the Thunder. So there's this Traverse City culture, and we are competitive with each other, but we support each other. And what happens is, as you mentioned, the tournaments, we have hundreds of teams every summer come to Traverse City, and we're the host, because we're local teams, and we compete, and that's kind of as a group of Traverse City travel teams, that's kind of our focus, is make sure that softball and travel softball is competitive throughout the state.
Well, you talk about the tournaments going on in Traverse City, and you're talking about bringing a lot of people, which translates into dollars to the community, to the Civic Center, for example, on multiple weekends, and it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, the numbers, and I reached out to the gentleman who runs the tournaments here. There are 6 travel softball tournaments throughout the summer and one in the fall, and the numbers, for example, for this summer, 6 tournaments, 240 teams. Only 20% of those teams would be from the general area, which means we got 80% of the teams coming from mostly downstate, a couple from Ohio this year. Over the last 3 years, it's been 600 teams, which would equate to about 7,200 athletes coming to town with their families, hotels, restaurants, camping. It's quite an addition to Traverse City.
All right, when you talk about TC Waves, there used to be a TC Waves, and there wasn't a TC Waves, and then 3-4 years ago, you decided with a group of you to start the TC Waves again, really without much experience.
Yeah, it's a long story, but it was a group of dads, and we decided, hey, let's start a team. We found out that the TC Waves, who runs the tournaments, also used to have teams. So we resurrected the TC Waves 3 years ago. Now we're up to 3 softball teams, 12U, an 11U, and a 10U, and then we added an 11U baseball team last year. And so it's a very neat group of people. It's a great group of families. We pride ourselves in being an organization that focuses on the children and focuses on the athletes, and make sure that we're doing this the right way, which means making sure that we focus on their safety, focus on their physical growth as a softball player, as a baseball player, but also on the mental side of making sure they're learning life lessons about softball and sports and life.
Excellent. Doug, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vic.
All right, talking softball, travel softball, the TC Waves in Traverse City. I'm Vic McCarty for my TV 12 and my News 26.